Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Guru Medeva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankara Acharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha. Srutismritipurananam karunalayam namami bhagavadpadam shankaram lokashankaram shankaram shankaracharyam keshavam badarayanam sutra bhashyakritau vande bhagavantau punah punah Ishvaro gururatmeti murti bheda vibhagine vyomavad dehaya dakshinamurtaye namah. Om Shri Meda Dakshinamurti Swamine Namah. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste once again, all of you.
Namaste, Guruji.
And a warm welcome to all of you for the concluding class of Tattva Bodha. It has been a great journey. This is the 38th class. And today, as we discussed the last class, it will be an extended session because after finishing the text, I would like to give a summary of what we have learned. It was not easy to summarize 36, 37 hours of teaching into whatever it is, 1 hour, half an hour, or whatever it is. But I still tried my best to highlight what all were the important aspects of this entire teaching. So it may go beyond 8 o'clock, and I don't know. Till we finish, we will complete this. So with those words, let us start the concluding session. So we are looking at the corollaries to the law of karma. We have already seen what law of karma is. I won't repeat that. And in the last class, we started looking at what are the takeaways, what are the learnings that we need to have from this law of karma. So the first one was that we must stop blaming others for all our experiences, whether pleasant or unpleasant, because they are the result of our own prarabdha karma, karmas which we have done in the past, which are giving their results during this life, or results of agami karma, some of the karmas which we have done in this life for which we are experiencing the results. So that is the first point we saw, that we must not blame anybody else. We must learn to take full responsibility for all our actions and the consequences of those actions. First important lesson, and this is where most of the people fail. They always look for some scapegoat, somebody to put the blame. Then the second corollary is coming from the first. So even though we cannot change our past, we can always have some management control over our future. Once we have understood what is the reason for our present pleasant and most importantly unpleasant experiences, we can actually extrapolate that and then learn that we must take charge of our life right now. Whatever we do from now onwards should be focused on doing dharmic karmas, those which will eventually later on give us pleasurable experiences, and we avoid adharmic karmas which result in unpleasant experience. So this is the second corollary. The third corollary is that we saw that many times we make a wrong equation between the karta, that is the present bhokta, and the present karta. Somebody is doing all sorts of sinful activities, but still he is living a very good life. Some poor person is very, very honest and he follows all dharmic karmas, but he's still suffering and so much of bad experiences he has. When we try to understand this situation, we must be careful not to equate the past karta with the present bhokta. Whatever is happening to him is the present karta, present bhokta. Whatever he does now, he will get the result of that, the good result of that, either before this life ends or in the next birth. So this is the third corollary. We must not, form a wrong equation between what we see as a karta or a karma of a person and his the results that he is enjoying. No karmas, they fructify immediately. They take their own time to fructify. So this was the third. And then we were seeing the fourth corollary last class towards the end, and which was that there is a availability of prayaschitta karma. Law of karma says that you can actually mitigate to some extent the unpleasant experiences or the bad effect of some of these negative karmas or adharmic karmas by doing prayaschitta. Prayaschitta means what? I mean, basically, we either through prayers or, doing some prayaschitta karmas are there in the Shastras. So in a weaker, if the karma is quite weak, that is it's a sort of a headache type karma, the prayaschitta may be able to cure it. Prayaschitta karma. In an intermediary prarabdha, which is neither weak nor very strong, this prayaschitta karmas will help us to manage the situation. As I gave you the example of diabetes or hypertension and all that. But if it is a powerful prarabdha, a prabhala prarabdha, then it may alleviate the pain of that karma, but the effect of that karma, it will not be able to remove. This is what we saw as the fourth corollary. And when the prayaschitta is general, we call it a prayer. And that's why we are advised to do every day, offer our prayers. At least sit for about 15 minutes, half an hour before an altar of God, light a lamp, close your eyes, bring your entire attention to that prayer and then pray. This is what, is a general prayaschitta. There are specific prayashchittas also, which are there in Jyotisha Shastra and also in Tantra Shastra, Mantra Shastra. All of them have got specific prayashchittas. Somebody is not getting married, or a daughter or son is not getting married, a prayaschitta karmas for that. To sort of minimize the bad effect of the past karmas. So all those things are there. So the fourth corollary, as I said, is availability of this prayaschitta. Now, most people ask a question, and it has been actually raised by one of the students, as I told you. And the question is, what is the connection between prayer and healing or extending life, etc.? Because we are often told by doctors also, we have done our best. Now you can only pray to God. This is what many doctors say, that, right? To save somebody's life. So whenever somebody becomes very sick, we are advised to pray for them. Even when our gurus or anybody for that matter, Mahamrityunjaya mantra japa you do, that will help them and all that, these kind of advices or upanishas that we receive. So we need to understand, if not in detail, it's a very big topic, but at least briefly, how this whole thing, prayer thing works. And whether this really works, because in many cases we find that even though people have offered their prayers, it doesn't actually result in any positive result. As we saw in the case of Swami Okarananda recently. Everybody was offering their prayers throughout the world, in fact. There was a specific prayer advice to everybody. but still nothing happened. I mean, he took samadhi. So we have to understand this connection between prayer. So that I thought that I will deal with that little bit. First point that we have to understand is that the effectiveness of the prayer will depend upon the strength or power of the prarabdha. This I have already stated. Now I told about prayaschitta. Now change the word prayaschitta to prayer. So whenever we pray for anybody or even for our own self, the effectiveness of that prayer will depend upon the strength of the prarabdha. If the prarabdha is weak, prayers will help. The same, I mean, whatever I told, same thing applies. If there is strong prarabdha, then the prayers also will fall flat. So this is the first thing that we have to understand about these prayers. So if we believe that by merely praying, it will nullify the effect of all prarabdhas, that is a wrong understanding. Then the question is, how do I know whether it's a weak prarabdha or a strong prarabdha? You don't need to know. You just pray. Offering prayers doesn't cost anything, takes a little bit of time, but there are other benefits of these prayers, which I will talk about. Because of that, even if you don't know what is the strength of the prarabdha, offer your prayers. Okay. The second aspect of this prayer is whenever we pray for somebody else, the welfare of somebody else, the good health of somebody else, it generates punya. It's a dharmic karma. And it generates a lot of punya for us. So whether the prayer has got effect on that other person or not, it certainly has got effect on us, because we can gain more and more punya, and some of that punya, which will be a credit entry in our karma account, can probably help to mitigate some of the papa karmas which we have done in the past. That possibility is very much there. If there is a lot of debit, some small credits also can reduce the debit balance. So that is another reason we have to understand that irrespective of whether the prayer is going to give any effect or not, I am going to pray because that is going to be beneficial for my own self. So this is the second connection between the prayers and prarabdha karma. Okay. So the prayers give us an opportunity to participate in a noble deed. And apart from that punyam, one more thing that happens in prayers is it also leads to chitta shuddhi, purity of your mind. The more and more you do these karmas, that is noble deeds, reaching out karmas, as we call it, to reach out to others, to help others, all these, they are all noble deeds. And when we do that, it increases our chitta shuddhi, purifies our mind. So this is another benefit we get through prayers, which is the intention of the prayers is a noble deed. Okay. And the third aspect is these prayers are like an appeal to the totality, to Ishvara. Like in courts and all, whenever we make an application to a court, the language used? They pray to the Lord to do this, to do that, to give. I pray to the Lord to give an interim injunction for this order. So this word pray has got a very lot of big connotation. Even when we pray to the judge, what is the intention? The intention is that even though a crime has been committed by a certain person, but that crime was committed under certain circumstances, which led to commitment of that crime. It was some unavoidable circumstances, mitigating circumstances. So, oh Lord, please take into account these circumstances, bear them in mind, and then whenever you are pronouncing your judgment, please keep that in mind and make the sentence lighter. Don't, where you can give a capital punishment, give a life sentence. But where a crime deserves a capital punishment, and this happens so quite often even in our courts, isn't it? Keeping in view the age of the accused, the responsibilities that the accused has got towards his family and all that, the judge will pronounce that instead of the death sentence, I reduce that punishment to life imprisonment. So many judgments we can see, Supreme Court judgments and all that. Same thing, whenever there are this serious, capital punishment is awarded, they are given an opportunity to offer, to approach the President of India for pardon. So they can approach, they can pray to the President of India to mitigate their punishment and convert it into something lesser. Similarly, the prayers that we do are all an appeal to the Lord, the Parameshwara, that this person I know, this person is a noble person. He has done so many noble deeds in this life. Oh Parameshwara, please take that into account. We know that prarabdha cannot be changed, but you have a power to change some prarabdhas. So keeping in mind all these mitigating circumstances, please help this person to come out of the bad experiences that this person has. So this is the third aspect of these prayers. So no harm in praying. We can keep on praying. And general prayer, specific prayer, all these things applicable. Okay. And that is why, what our general prayer every day is, Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Let everybody be happy. The more you say Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu, the more noble thought you are developing, that you are wishing good for everybody, not only for yourself. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Let everybody be without any disease. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Let me see everybody, prospering. Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Let nobody be afflicted with any kind of dukkhas. This is a prayer you can go on repeating in your mind always. The more and more you repeat, you will start really wishing well for everybody. You will never ever wish ill for anybody. So these are all general prayers. We can keep on offering them. Rather, it need not specific prayers. So this is the another aspect of these prayers. Okay. Of course, the Lord also will exercise the discretion in such matters within the ambit of law of karma. Lord cannot go, Parameshwara, Ishvara cannot go outside the law of karma, the order of law of karma, which he himself has formulated. But while formulating, there are certain provisions which he would have kept, which we do not know, by which he can actually little bit change, the effect of the karma. Karma will have its effect, but how serious that effect is, that can probably be managed a little bit by Ishvara as karma phala dhata. Okay. So special circumstances he can take into account, use his discretion, and some mitigation he can offer. So prayers we can offer. So irrespective of whether we experience any immediate relief or not, or immediate removal of the unpleasant experience of others for whom we are praying, irrespective of that, we should keep on offering prayers. That's very, very important. So our own negative karma phalam also, as I told you, it can help to mitigate. Then the fifth and final corollary of this law of karma. In fact, there is one more aspect to the prayer, which is more or less like a auto suggestion. Right? The more you do, the more you improve your own thinking. So just came in my mind. So these are the four corollaries to the law of karma we saw. The fifth and final corollary is that in any particular birth, we never exhaust all the karmas that we have seen. We exhaust the prarabdha karmas. Some agami karmas we exhaust, but there are other agami karmas which remain unexhausted, unmatured agami karmas, which at the time of death goes and joins the Sanchita karma bundle. We started before birth with the Sanchita karma bundle, and then out of that, minus prarabdha karma for this life was taken out, and prarabdha karma we started experiencing, result of prarabdha karma. And during this course, we started agami karma, earning agami karma, punya and papa. Some of that agami karma we experienced the result in this life itself. At the end of it, there are agami karmas which has not produced their result, they're not matured. They go and join the Sanchita karma bundle for our next birth. Out of that whole bundle of past Sanchita karmas, opening balance, plus additions, credits and debits, minus credits and debits of this life, balance carried forward is the Sanchita karma bundle, out of which again one more set of prarabdha karmas are drawn out for our next birth. So as long as these karmas keep on going, we keep on doing actions, good actions and bad actions, with motivation, without motivation. With motivation, of course, is most important. Keep on doing, this karma cycle goes on endlessly, eternally. So the fifth corollary is punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam is the rule of this karma, law of karma. You cannot escape it. Okay. So this is the natural, this rebirth and death and birth again is the natural corollary of law of karma. Even if you take an animal, it will exhaust its prarabdha karma during the present life. But when it dies, again, the Sanchita karma, it may not have any agami karma, because animals, as I told you, they don't have free will, so they go punya papa, they collect in the animal life. But the Sanchita karma is there, so that will continue, and they will have another life, either of a human being, animal, plant, whatever it is, depending upon the karma, past karmas. Okay. So this is how the fifth corollary of law of karma is to be understood. Now the next question is, what happens to these karmas at the time of death? We have briefly seen, but then there is a difference between what happens to these karmas between a jnani and a ajnani. Okay, so that point that is being highlighted. So for a ajnani, at the time of death, the prarabdha is exhausted, and that is the balance of agami gets added to the Sanchita karma, which gives a second next birth. This we have seen. Okay. And when the Stula Shariram goes away, the Sukshma Shariram and the Karana Shariram, they continue after that. They leave this physical body along with the reflected consciousness. They travel together. Because Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram cannot travel without consciousness. that reflected consciousness is required for them to travel out, isn't it? They are inert by their nature. They can't do anything. So because of the consciousness also goes with them, they actually travel rather to take up the next body. Okay. So the reflected consciousness continues after death. That we must understand. It does not die with the fall of the physical body. Only the Stula Shariram and the reflected consciousness in the Stula Shariram go away. The reflected consciousness in Sukshma Shariram and reflected consciousness in Karana Shariram, which both are reflecting medias, right? They are also reflecting media, as we have seen in the chart. So they, along with the reflected consciousness, leave the physical body and go out. So RM1 goes away. That RM1 is reflected media 1, physical Stula Shariram. But RM2, RM3, RC2, RC3, if you remember those names we had given, Stula and Karana Sharira, they survive the death of the physical body. Of course, original consciousness is always there, so that cannot go away anywhere. So this is what happens at the death of a Ajnani, right? All this is the process. And the Sukshma Shariram and Karana Shariram, they travel and then they take up another body, and that reflected, that is another medium, reflecting media, RM1, they will take up. So in that RM1, again, the original consciousness will get reflected, and so the RM1 will become alive, sentient, and these RM2, RC2, RM2, and RC3, RM3 will go and reside in that new RM1 and RC1. Okay, this is how we have to understand these equations. Okay. So it's just when the sun moves, the reflection also moves, isn't it? I mean, if you are having some pool of water or a big mirror, when the sun is there, the morning, it will be in one corner of the mirror. The sun is moving, the mirror also, the reflection also will keep moving. So similar to that. Now let us look at the process, same process for a Jnani. So as I said, Jnani will have to exhaust his prarabdha, no doubt. That cannot change rather. So Sukha, Dukkha, Anubhava, even after getting Jnanam, it will continue for a Jnani. Because prarabdha has already started. But what happens is, even though a Jnani may fall sick, he may suffer from lot of ailments, since he has disassociated his identity with his body, mind, sense complex, he will not react to those illnesses as an Ajnani reacts. He has full understanding that I cannot escape it. So it is just, I have to accept it. I have to go through it, whatever pain it may cause. And that is why initially we said, in this whole spiritual process, Titiksha we have to develop. Titiksha is what? Endurance power. To endure all opposites, we have to develop. So a Jnani has got fully developed Titiksha. So even though for an outsider, Ajnanis, it may look very painful, for a Jnani, it is, he doesn't feel the pain. Feel the pain in the sense, not literally, he doesn't pay attention to the pain. Let it be there, doesn't matter. He may even cry, he may, tears will fall, everything will happen, but intellectually he has detached himself from this physical body. So whatever reaction the physical body is giving for the pain, the Jnani will remain unaffected with that, because he knows he is not the physical body. So his jnana, the knowledge that he has gained, overshadows all these pains for a Jnani. Okay. So I gave you earlier also an example. This happens to a Ajnani also occasionally. Suppose we are having some very bad, day, bad health, ill health. we are lying down, not feeling like doing anything and all that, isn't it? Pain all over the body, something is going on. Suddenly you get a news that some very good news. For example, you are a father of a girl who is married. You get a news that you have got a grandson somewhere in the US. All this body pain and all we will forget and we will rejoice in that news, isn't it? It may be short-lived also, but what will happen? We will forget everything about this body, mind, sense complex like a jnani, and we will rejoice in that news, good news. So similarly, a jnani, because of this knowledge, he can disconnect himself permanently rather from all these pains. So this is the Vidyananda can overshadow the prarabdha dukkham. That's what we have to understand. Okay. It will be like a candle light shown to a sun. Knowledge is sun, like the sun. Candle light is what? It is like the dukkha. It will have no effect rather. Even though the light will be burning, it will not have any effect in front of the sunlight. So this is what we have to understand. And then we have already seen for a jnani, at the time of jnanam, sanchita karmas are gone, and the agami karmas that he has performed till that time are also joined with sanchita karma, and they are all destroyed. All that happens after jnanam is continues with the prarabdha karma, right? So that's why he said sanchita karma jnanena nashyati. Okay. So similarly, what happens is, like we have, when we wake up from a dream, all the karmas that we have done in the dream, good, bad karmas are all finished. Isn't it? In the dream, we are a karta. We do so many acts in the dream. But when we wake up, those karmas are gone. They have no effect. Similarly, when we become a super waker, we become a super waker, a jnani, all these karmas which we have done as a waker also will go away. So this is how we have to understand. Okay. And after the jnanam, actually jnani does not collect any punya papa because he does not have any deha abhimana. Only when he has got deha abhimana, these punya papas will come. I am a karta, I am a bhokta. Kartrutvam, bhoktrutvam, as long as is there, the mamakara, ahankara, as long as is there, is when the karmas will add on to this physical body. The jnani has got no mamakara, no ahankara, no kartrutvam, no bhoktrutvam. He has surrendered his free will to the totality. He has no free will also. In fact, you can actually compare a jnani with an animal. Except that animals cannot do any good for others. A jnani's time is spent and life is spent only in doing good to others. In actually, jnani becomes an agent of Ishvara as long as he is alive to take care of the sustaining of this world. The Ishvara's duty of sustaining this world with all dharma, that duty is delegated to a jnani by Ishvara. So as long as he lives, he will spend his time only in that, without collecting any more karmas for him, his own self. Okay. So now the author is concluding this teaching. Tatacha atmavid samsaram tirtva brahmanandam ihaiva prapnoti tarati shokam atmavid iti shrutehe. So now towards the end, the author is quoting whatever he has taught. He is taught on the basis of what is there in Shruti and Smriti Granthas. We have seen some of them, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita quotations and all that. They are all said in those texts rather, in those scriptures. So he says that Tatacha, and therefore thus, right? Atmavid, a wise person, a jnani, right? Samsaram tirtva, having crossed over. Tirtva means crossed over. waded over samsara. Samsara means a life of becoming, as we have seen, all the travails and traumas of this life that we are leading. Having crossed over all that, Brahmanandam, that, happiness, which is his true nature, he realizes that happiness, Brahmanandam, ihaiva, here itself, in this life itself, prapnoti, he gets it while living itself. Okay. And he quotes Shokam Tarati Atmavit. This is a quotation from Chandogya Upanishad. Shokam means what? I mean, miseries, unpleasant experiences. Tarati, again, Tirtva, Tarati means crosses over, swims across. Atmavit, a jnani, a knower of the self, knower of the Atma. Atmam veti iti Atmavit. Atma veti iti Atmavit. So, this is the meaning. So, this is the Upanishadic support to a Jivan Mukta. Now, he also quotes another scripture for Videha Mukta. That is from Smriti Grantha. Tanum Tyajatu va kashyam swapachasya grihe tava jnana samprapti samaye mukto sau vigata shayah. Right. So here what he is saying is a jnani, he may give up his body in Kashi, Banaras, Varanasi, or in the house of a person who is a eater of dog meat. Normally such people are considered to be very, very lowly people, no? So either he can, in a very pious or, sacred place like Kashi, he can leave his body, or in a very, very impure place like a house of a dog eater, rather, eater of dog meat, right? Swapachasya grihe tava. Swapacha means the one who eats dog. Okay. So the place of death doesn't matter to the jnani. Because why? He knows that what is dying is only his body, a temporary house, which is collapsing. I am not collapsing. So it doesn't matter for him at all. Okay. Because also he knows that by power of his knowledge, he is eventually going to attain Ishvara. There is not going to be any more body for me. A jnani knows that very well, rather. Okay. So because of that, because of that knowledge, he is where he dies, what rites are performed after his death, whether all these are totally irrelevant for a jnani. These are all relevant only for an ajnani who is still a karma kandi. Once you have come to jnana kandam, you have become a jnani, all these things are becoming irrelevant. Okay. So his Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram also goes and merges with the totality, Sukshma Prapancha and Karana Prapancha. And that's the end of this story. For a jnani. Ajnani, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, continues that and continue to suffer. So this is Videha Mukti for a jnani. Okay. And this is Smriti quotation. I don't remember from which Smriti it has been taken. If I get it, I will tell you in some future classes. Some other class, not the Tattva. So the underlying message is the power of jnana is so much that it is worthwhile to seek this knowledge with full commitment. That is the beauty of this self-knowledge. And the author concludes with Iti Tattva Bodha Prakaranam Samaptam. He says, with this, the Prakarana Grantha, the introductory text called Tattva Bodha, is concluded. Right? So, with this, we also conclude the fifth and the final topic of Jnana Phalam, where we saw in detail, some detail about law of karma and all that. And with that, we also conclude this formal learning of this Tattva Bodha. I will say the prayers and thank Veda Dakshinamurti Ishwara, all Guru Parampara, my own Acharyas, Gurus, for having blessed us in successfully completing this Tattva Bodha, which we started some 6 months ago, if I'm not wrong, somewhere in the month of September, last year, 6 or 8 months ago. I don't know. But it has been really nice. And I'm very glad that a lot of you continued with your interest and attended all the classes. Some of you have seen the videos also repeatedly. I've seen you taking notes. And my own appeal to all of you is please continue this. You have already stepped into a very right path in your this life. Please continue this, this spiritual path. And I can assure you that whether you get moksha or not, this your life henceforth will be very, 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 I would say, comfortable, and your attitude will bring in a very vast change in your attitude, which itself is a very happy thing to happen to oneself. So I will say the prayers, and after that we will see the summary. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all. And one more.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்தது. அதோ இத்தனை நாள் ஒரு நாளோ 2 நாளோ தான் நான் இது பண்ணேன், ரெக்கார்டிங் கேட்டிருந்தேன். இட் வாஸ் அ டிவைன் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ். இதை விட எளிமையா யாராலையும் சொல்ல முடியாது. ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்தது. இப்போ அடுத்த வாரம் தான் நமக்கு அந்த கீதா கிளாஸ் ஆரம்பிக்கணும்.
Okay. Those of you who have been thinking of joining Bhagavad Gita classes but have been postponing it, no, just the 17th, I am planning to close registrations, so that after that, I will have to send out the announcement for the
PDF.
So please, within next 1 week, if you are interested, inclined, and have the time.
I spoke to the TM, and
who is that? I thought he was telling me something. Okay, doesn't matter. Now let us go to the summary of this. Those who are interested in summary can stay. I mean, summary is not a compulsory thing, but it will actually recall what all we have done in the last 38 weeks. So if you have got something more important thing to do, you can leave the class, and that permission.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Thank you very much. We feel elevated. You have shown the right path.
Yeah.
We just want to follow this as per your advice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. So the topics in the Tattva Bodha text that we have studied can be broadly organized as follows. First, we saw the introduction and prayer. Then we saw the chapter topic of Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. Then we did Vyashti Vichara, the analysis of the individual microcosm. Then we did Samashti Vichara, the analysis of the totality macrocosm. Then we saw the Aikya Vichara, the oneness of the individual and the total, the microcosm and the macrocosm. Then we saw the Aikya Jnana Phalam, and in which we also saw the law of karma. And finally, the conclusion which the author gave. So these are broadly the 8 topics in which we saw this. Now I will briefly summarize each topic what we saw. Okay, it is not very detailed because of the time constraint, and it's only a summary. So that way we can just recalling what all we saw. So Tattva Bodha, as I said initially, is an introductory text. It's called Prakarana Grantha, prescribed in the initial stages for a sadhaka, initial stages of a Vedanta study, and for a student who is keen to learn Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita and all. When we go to learn Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita and all, Tattva Bodha's learning becomes a very good foundation. It is just like, without learning alphabets, you cannot learn the English language. Similarly, Tattva Bodha is a must for every sadhaka who is planning to learn the other Vedanta scriptures. Okay. So Tattva Bodha means what? Knowledge of the reality. And what is the reality? The knowledge of the true nature of oneself. The self-knowledge is what Tattva Bodha is about. So we can say Tattva Bodha is self-knowledge. And we saw that there are numerous benefits that comes from the self-knowledge, from this knowledge of the self. But we saw 5 main benefits. Jignasa Nivrittihi, first one. The satisfaction of the natural curiosity about the world, God and oneself. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, all questions we have about this, that is answered, through this self-knowledge. So Jignasa Nivrittihi. Second is Vijnananda Praptihi. Ananda, there are 2 ways to get Ananda or happiness in life. One is Vishayananda, from things which are temporary in nature, we get some happiness. But that happiness also is temporary. But the knowledge, the happiness given by knowledge is a permanent happiness. Because the knowledge, once we got, it cannot be taken away, right? So it continues to stay with us. The happiness that the knowledge brings also is permanent. So this is Vidyananda Praptihi. Jignasa Nivrittihi leads to Vijnananda Praptihi. So this is the second benefit. The third benefit we saw was Karpanya Nivrittihi. By self-knowledge, we will learn to reduce our desperate dependence upon the joy given by the world and worldly objects, worldly persons, and worldly situations. We may not reject them, but we will reduce our desperate dependence. Many people have this, I'm feeling very bored. I feel I should go on a holiday. That will bring me a lot of happiness. Because of coronavirus, you cannot go on a holiday. Desperate dependence. The moment some restrictions are taken away, immediately they will go on holiday and then get another corona round of Zika virus, Bika virus. There are so many Greek alphabets are there now in corona. One variant they will catch and come back. So this desperate dependence, once you are, Vidyananda Prapti is there, you are Ananda always, where the Vidya is there. So this Karpanya Nivrittihi takes place, this desperate dependence goes away. Then we saw Aghata Nivrittihi. Because of this desperate dependence going away and because of the self-knowledge, the shock and trauma that we experience many times in our life, especially certain very, very, traumatic experiences, that effect of that will get greatly reduced because we develop an immunity of our mind to react to those things. If those experiences come, we will learn to respond to them instead of reacting to them. Okay. So we will develop that resilience with self-knowledge. So Aghata Nivrittihi. Then the fifth is Dakshata Praptihi. Dakshata Praptihi means gaining efficiency. Once a mind is poised and under our total mastery, we can direct the mind what it should do. Then what? In everything that we do, we will have total concentration and that will increase our efficiency. Mind will not wander here and there when we are doing an important thing. It will increase our efficiency. Even during prayers, during meditation, it will increase our efficiency of that particular act when we get this self-knowledge. So this much we saw the 5-fold benefits. Then we saw the invocation prayer, Vasudevendra Yogendram, that prayer we saw. And that was the author offering his prayers to his Guru and Ishvara. And along with him, we also offered our prayers. Okay. Because without, for any success in any field, we require self-effort and also the blessings of Ishvara. Without these two combining, we cannot achieve any success. I gave numerous examples, in the class rather. So author offered his salutations first to his guru, because he is undertaking a big task of writing this Tattva Bodha text. So much he has studied, Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, so many Shastras, Brahma Sutra and all he must have studied. When he is writing this text, he has two challenges. One is he must be able to recall all his knowledge and then put it down. Number two, this being an introductory text, he has to make it very simple, because this is going to be studied by people who have no idea of Vedanta. So these are the two big tasks he has got. Recollection and simplicity. So for that, to be successful, he offers his prayers to his guru, and whose name is Vasudevendra, and who is a Yogindra, is a great yogi. So such a great yogi Shishya, he also must be a great yogi, isn't it? Then, because his guru's name is Vasudeva, that same name is also Lord Krishna's name, who is a Jagat Guru. So through that, he is also offering his prayers to Lord Krishna, Vasudeva, who is Jagat Guru. So one guru is immediate guru, one guru is a Jagat Guru. To both these gurus, he is offering his prayers. Then he stated the purpose of his text rather. He said that he is going to impart this knowledge of the real self, this Tattva Bodha, for the benefit of seekers of moksha. Mumukshunam hitarthaya, he said. Okay. So this was the invocation and the prayer and introduction. Then we came to the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti chapter, rather, the qualification, essential qualification required in a mumukshu, a sadhaka, a person who is traveling or undertaking a journey on the spiritual path. And the author pointed out a fourfold qualifications, which is called Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. Sampatti means wealth, inner wealth. It is not a wealth in terms of money, inner wealth. Sadhanam means the qualifications. Chatushtaya means four. Okay. First one was Nitya Vastu Viveka. It is a discriminative knowledge of what is permanent and what is impermanent in this world. First thing, that is what he said. First you understand what is permanent and what is impermanent. And he said that the all-pervading, eternal, infinite principle called Brahman is the only permanent thing in this world. Everything else is impermanent. You, me, everything is impermanent. Only that Brahman is permanent. And if you are looking for permanent happiness in your life, you must look for that happiness only from a permanent source. Impermanent sources will give you only impermanent or temporary happiness. So this was the first qualification or first thing a sadhaka has to develop. Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. So he has to develop Viveka. Viveka means discrimination. He has to develop. Then the second was Iha Amurta Phala Bhoga Viragaha. Viragaha, dispassion. This is the second qualification. Dispassion means what? Freedom from all types of addiction, attachment towards worldly and sensory pleasures. If I can't see this TV serial today evening, I've been seeing it for the last 3 years, I will be very sad. I won't get sleep. Such a deep attachment, addiction to this, people have, and then they suffer. So, if I see, well and good. If I don't see also, it is okay. This is viraga. Viraga does not mean that you must hate these things. Vigataha ragaha means what? The attachment, the binding nature that I have to do that has gone again. Desires can still be there, but they will not become, addictive desires. Okay. So what it means? It means that we may have desires, but we need to gain mastery over the desires. Desires cannot overshadow what we need to do, cannot overshadow our responsibilities. Sometimes we have to put back our desires, put them in background because there is something more important that we need to do. That is viraga. Viraga does not mean that you start, living, exposing yourself from everything and all. No, you can be a vairagi living right in the middle of your family. With all these things, people around you, if you can overcome or reduce your ahankara and mamakara, and through that develop this viraga, that's a big qualification. In fact, we all have vairagya. We don't understand, we don't realize it. Occasionally, we use that vairagyam power. Okay. And he said that it is not only the desire, present desires in this life, also future life. I should be become some of these people who do a lot of these karmas and all yaga, they all desire to become some devata. Because a lot of punya you want, you can become a devata. Promotion you will get. I want to go to Swarga Loka because life in Swarga Loka is very, very pleasurable life, beautiful life. You don't get old and all that. So many Puranas talk about that, life in Swarga Loka. So these people have got a wish to go to Swarga Loka, but that is also a very strong desire, addictive desire. And they do so many things to go to Swarga Loka. So that also, iha amutra phala bhoga viraga. That's what he said. So both in this life and the later, after this life also. So this is the second qualification, dispassion. Discrimination, dispassion. Then the third one was a set of 6 qualifications, Shamadhi Shakka Sampatti. Shakka Sampatti means 6-fold self-discipline. And they are what? Shamaha, mastering the mind, learning to keep the mind peaceful and stress-free, gaining freedom from mental stress. Damaha, mastering our sensory faculties, not allowing them to go here and there and wherever they want to go, directing them to go where we want them to go rather. We want or we decide, that they should go there. Uparamaha, Uparama generally withdrawal or quietude, right? As I said, one meaning is the mental peace achieved through Shamaha. So Shamaha is mastery, achieving mental peace, and Uparamaha can be taken as, maintaining that mental peace is Uparamaha. One meaning you can take like that. But the author here gave a different meaning. Swadharma Anushtanam Eva is Uparamaha. What does that mean? And in that context, we talked about Nitya Karma, Naimittika Karma, Kamya Karma, Prayashchitta Karma, Nishiddha Karma. All that we talked about, if you remember. So, author said of this, the first 3 should be, the first 2 should be followed or done, without fail, and the last 3 should be reduced or, if possible, eliminated. So, Nitya Karma, Naimittika Karma, one should do. And Kamya Karma, Prayashchitta Karma, and Nishiddha Karma, one should reduce or totally avoid. Nishiddha Karma, totally one should avoid. Because they are karmas which cause harm to others. Okay. So this is the third self-discipline. Fourth one he said was titiksha. As I mentioned a little while earlier, enduring capacity. Increasing the level of endurance or patience or immunity, or you can call it resistance power. And both at physical level and mental level. A healthy body, a healthy mind, they are necessary to endure the pair of opposites. He said, Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, he gave. Any pair of opposites, neither be too elated when happiness comes, nor be too sorrowful when some tragedy occurs. Balance of the mind, endurance. If you're sitting in an AC room, suddenly the power goes away. Oh my God, so hot, sweating and all that. No need. Okay, power has gone, it will come and I will feel better. That's the endurance. Okay. Next one was Shraddha. It is very important for all spiritual seekers rather. Faith or trust in the Shastras and the words of the Guru. Very, very important. Okay. It is just like, as I told you, the trust we have on the doctor. When we go to consult him, we don't know the doctor at all. But we still have a trust that the doctor will cure our problem. So we go to him. Okay. And test it out. And over a period of time, we will gain the experience. Some of the doctors become family doctors like that. In fact, some people believe that if the doctor touches me, I will become all right. This is the kind of, they elevate the God, the doctor to the Ishwara's level rather. So, this same kind of faith and trust we must have in the Shastras. What the Shastras are saying are for my own good, for my benefit. And similarly, the Guru who has learned these Shastras and advising me or giving me these talks, he is also has my welfare only in mind. He does not have any hidden agenda. This is not a marketing talk that he is giving, like so many marketing companies give big seminars, all to sell their products and take the money out of your pocket. So that Shraddha, that faith or trust is the fifth self-discipline one should have. Then the last one was Samadhanam. Samadhanam means what? Concentration of the mind, which in Yoga Shastra is called Samadhi. Focusing the mind, concentrating the mind. And for that, one needs to actually fix the short-term and long-term goals in life. That's very important. Only when you know in what to concentrate upon, you will concentrate. If you have no goal in life, what will you concentrate upon? So that's Samadhanam, concentration is very, very important. And that the author called as Chitta Ekagrata, right? Bringing the entire mental faculty into one focus. And that is very important for Vedanta study. When we are studying, we are gaining the self-knowledge, we must not allow our mind to go here and there, because whatever the Guru is taking the trouble of giving you, it will all go evaporate, and as it hits here, it will evaporate. It will not go in unless the mind is behind your ears, your eyes. You are seeing the Guru, you are hearing the Guru, the mind has to fully back these faculties. Then only it will have its impact. Then the fourth one in Sadhana Chatushtayi is Mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam means an intense desire or an yearning to attain moksha. That desire should be there. It need not be an addiction, but to attain moksha, which is the Paramapada, which is the ultimate goal of this life, every jiva's life. Whether they set it as a goal or not, that is the goal which nature decides for every jiva. It may take 100 crore births for some jivas may attain it in 100 births. Depending upon how in that particular human birth the jiva understands this goal and fixes that goal as his or her own personal goal. So this is the fourth one. Mumukshutvam means desire. Okay. So the four discipline, as in Swami Paramathananda's words, remembering him on this: discrimination, dispassion, discipline, and desire. The 4 Ds, if you remember. These 4 Ds, every sadhaka has to acquire. One need not acquire before starting the Vedanta studies, but once you have got into the Vedanta studies, you must focus on these disciplines and these qualifications, and you can develop them along with the study of the scriptures. And as we saw, one of the best methods of acquiring this sadhana chatushtayam is karma yoga. And we saw karma yoga in detail, what karma yoga means. Ishwararpana buddhi and Ishwara prasada buddhi. That is what karma yoga is all about in relation to all our actions. Then next we saw Vyashti Vichara, analysis of the individual or the microcosm. And the author he set out by saying that at the individual level, there is Atma, the invisible, immortal, inner essence of every individual, which is the only reality which exists independently, and everything else, that's our body, mind, sense complex, is mithya. They exist dependently with dependence on this Atma. And this body, mind, sense complex were called anatma. So an individual level, it consists of Atma and Anatma. Atma is the independent, permanent, inner essence of every individual. Anatma is everything else which we have in our body. That is body, mind, sense complex, the three shariras or the panchakoshas, all that. He explained all that, right? So he divided the Anatma portion into three groups: Sharira Traya, then Kosha Panchakam, and Avastha Traya, right? So these three groups he divided. And the Sharira Trayam he further subdivided and Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and Karana Sharira. And we saw their cause, their function, their nature, and their condition. Some detail we saw all that, each one of them. Okay. So the gross body, Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body, which consists of 17 components, Sapta Dasha Kaladibihi, he said, right? Pancha Jnanendriyani, the five organs of or faculties of action. Pancha Karmendriyani, Jnanendriyani, five faculties of knowledge, the source of knowledge. Pancha Karmendriyani, the five faculties of action. Pancha Prana, the pranic energy in the body. The five Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana, the five. And then Mana and Buddhi, 2. So 17 he pointed out as the components of this Sukshma Sharira. Later on, in the later chapter, we also saw Buddhi and Ahankara also as part of that. So we can take it as 19 components of Chitta and Ahankara, not Buddhi. Chitta and Ahankara as the components of Sukshma Sharira. So we can take it as 19 components of Sukshma Sharira. Then Karana Sharira, we saw, was the causal body. Karana Sharira is like a seed, which is the cause of the other two bodies. Right? Because that is what is going to give us the next birth, rather. And as I told you, all karmas in the form of punya and papa are stored in this Karana Sharira, in this seed. So the future births and all is there in this Karana Sharira. Okay. Next was Kosha Panchakam, which comprises of the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. And this Kosha Panchakam, as I told you, is nothing but a restatement of Sharira Trayam from a different functional standpoint. That's all. The physical body is equivalent to that is Annamaya Kosha is equal to Stula Sharira. Then Sukshma Sharira, Pranamaya, Manomaya, and Vijnanamaya Kosha equal to Sukshma Sharira. Then Karana Sharira is equal to Anandamaya Kosha. This is how we correlated and we understood that. And the third group was Avastha Trayam. So Avastha Trayam, we saw Jagrat Avastha, the waking state of experience, Swapna Avastha, the dream state of experience, and the Sushupti Avastha, the dreamless deep sleep state of experience. These three, understanding of these three states of experience is also very, very important from a self-knowledge point of view, because they are very much part of the individual. Okay. So all these three groups, that is 3 plus second one was 5, right? Kosha Panchakam, and this third one, which was 3 states of experience, right? Sharira Trayam, Kosha Panchakam, and Avastha Trayam, total 11. 11 components at the broad level are there. But these 11 are are anatma and they are different from atma. And that atma's nature is Satchidananda Swarupaha. That's what he said. Nature is, atma's nature is Sat, Chit and Ananda. Then author defines these three words, Satchitananda. He said Sat, defined as Kalatraye api tishtati, that which exists in all three periods of time. Past, present and future, never perishes. It's always there. It is of the nature of pure existence. Eternal it is. Then Chit he defined as Jnana Swarupaha, of the nature of pure knowledge. This Satchidananda in Taittiriya Upanishad is defined as Satyam Jnanam Anantam. So Sat is Satyam, Chit is Jnanam, and Ananda is Anantam. So that is how Taittiriya Upanishad explains these three aspects or of Brahman or Atman. Okay. So Jnana Swarupa is pure knowledge, and there are other words we have used: Chaitanyam, Jnanam, Vijnanam. All these are all synonyms for this Chaitanyam, this Chitra. Okay. So according to Vedanta, Atma, the real I, is of the nature of consciousness, which makes the body sentient. Atma is that consciousness principle because of which the body is alive and is able to carry out all our work. And then we learned the following aspects about this Atma, which is very, very important from our study point of view, especially relating to this consciousness. This consciousness is not a part, property, or product of the body. It is an invisible, independent entity which pervades the body and makes the body alive. Second point. Third one we saw was it extends beyond the body also. In fact, it pervades the entire universe. It is boundless, it is limitless, and it is dimensionless. It has no rupa, this consciousness. And the fourth thing is this consciousness will continue to survive even after the death of the body, even after the reflecting medium dies in the form of this Sukshma Sharira, this Sthula Sharira. But we also understood that after death, this consciousness cannot be recognized. It cannot be contacted by us. Why? Because to contact the consciousness, we require a physical body. So we will have to wait till the consciousness goes and occupies or enlivens another physical body after the whole process of karma transfer takes place, and then we can interact with that body. Okay. So consciousness requires a reflecting medium to be recognized or interacted with. So these are the things we saw. So by naming the consciousness as Atma, Atma, the word in Sanskrit means the self, me, right? Atma. So author wants us to practice, to train our mind, that whenever I say I must in my mind refer to the Atma, to my consciousness only, and not to this body, mind, sense, complex. This is what the author's aim is in trying to give us all this knowledge. Okay. Because this consciousness will survive forever, body will come and go. Once we understand we will survive forever, we will never know death and all, then all these things that happens to this body, mind, sense complex becomes inconsequential in our life. Once you understand Aham Brahmasmi, that Brahman is consciousness, I am that consciousness, I am Atma Brahman. So once we understand that, everything else in this entire Maya Kalpita Samsara, Prapancha, will become inconsequential, and that is what is moksha is all about. If it is there, it is there. Not there also, it doesn't matter. So then the third one was Ananda, refers to Swarupa Ananda. Okay. Happiness, which is one's own nature, which is permanent. It is not Vishayananda, the temporary happiness that we get from people, places, situations, objects, etc. Okay. And the permanent happiness can be gained only by understanding oneself to be Anantaha, limitless. I have no limitation at all. I am Purnaha, complete in all respects. I don't lack anything in my life. So that is what, that limitlessness, that Anantaha will what give us Anandaha, that permanent happiness, eternal happiness. As long as we feel that we lack something in life, that will be expressed in the form of a sorrow or some misery. So sorrow, we can define it as a limitation, and happiness as limitlessness. Thus, this individual he described as Satchidananda Swarupa. Then the author entered the Srishti Vichara topic, which is the study of the macrocosm, the totality, cosmology. So, right. Samashti Vichara. So the entire cosmos is technically called Chaturvimshati Tattva, because the scriptures divide this whole this cosmos into 24 elements and elementals, 24 basic principles. Before the this origin of the universe, before the universe was created, there were two primal factors or principles, which were the very cause for this universe. The first one we saw was called Brahman. Brahman is, as I said, is another name for Atma only, the invisible, immortal, inner essence of everything in this universe. Every entity in this universe. Therefore, the nature of this Brahman also is Satchidananda only. As Atma is Satchidananda, Brahman is Satchidananda. Then only we will understand Aham Brahmasmi completely, what it means. So it is that eternal, immortal principle that existed before creation. This was one aspect. Second was, the whole material universe was also existent before the creation. But that was in a seed form or a potential form. And this potential form of the universe was called Maya, which is material and inert in nature. So Brahman is the non-material consciousness principle, and Maya is the inert principle, the material principle, the matter principle. Brahman, the consciousness has independent existence, and therefore it is called Satyam. Maya, the matter principle, has an existence dependent upon Brahman. Therefore it is called Mithya. Mithya does not mean false. Mithya means dependent existence. And both this Brahman and Maya have existed from beginningless times, even before the creation, they have been there. And this Maya we saw is Trigunatmika. It has got three gunas, Sattva guna, Rajo guna, and Tamo guna, which three gunas are found in every matter which is there in this entire universe in different proportions. It is there in every individual also. In fact, these three gunas are essential for everything to survive. For existence, these three gunas are required. So that we saw that in different proportions they are there. Brahman does not do or anything or evolve anything. This whole creation, Brahman has done any physical act for this creation. Okay. But in the presence of Brahman only, with the blessings of Brahman only, Maya or matter evolves. So this evolution is what we call creation. And the author presented this creation in 4 stages. Pancha Sukshma Bhuta Srishtihi, which is the creation of the 5 subtle elements. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa and Prithvi, and the subtle form. Then Sukshma Bhautika Srishtihi. All the elementals, combination of these elements, different combination in subtle form. They were the second step of creation. We can say subtle elementals. Then Pancha Stula Bhuta Srishtihi. Then the grossified 5 elements, this what we experience, tangible air and space we are able to experience, see the space, the tangible, grossified, subtle elements, the 3rd stage. Evolution of the physical, gross, visible, concrete, tangible elements. 4th stage was Stula Bhautika Srishtihi, which is the gross, tangible, physical bodies through varieties of combination. Everything that we experience in this world, every object is all Stula Bhautikam elementals. They are made of a different combinations of this Stula Bhautika Srishti, which has evolved from Sukshma Bhautikam, which has evolved from Sukshma Bhutam. So this is the creation chart. And then the author also described how each sense organs result from each of these guna of these elements. Each of these elements have got 3 gunas, and from each guna, one of the sense organs are, we get. All that he explained, and he also explained what are the devatas associated with these sense organs. So the entire creation, this Chaturvimshati Tattva Utpatti Prakaram, I had given you circulated some charts. So from that you can revise it and know how this whole Srishti Vichara was presented by the author. Then the 4th main topic was the revelation of the fact that both this microcosm and this macrocosm, this individual and the total, this Vyashti and Samashti is in essence one and the same, Aikya Vichara. And this process was presented in the Jiva Ishvara Aikyam chart. If you remember that original consciousness, reflected consciousness, reflecting medium, Jiva side, Ishvara side, and then the Aikyam, how we came to the equation, the Tattvamasi, the great equation, how we arrive at that, the process of arriving at that equation we saw. Okay. So all this reflecting medium are all what they are, and reflecting consciousness also, they are superficial, apparent and misconceived differences. The differences between them are misconceived. In essence, if we actually ignore these differences, in terms of its nature, both the Jiva and the Ishvara are one and the same. That was the Jiveshwara Aikyam. Okay, and this is the essence of the Mahavakyas like Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Atma Brahma, all that Mahavakyams from different Vedas, they all have the same message. Okay. And this perceived difference between Jivatma and Ishvara and Paramatma is because of ignorance. Ignorance of the reality of the true nature of both Ishvara and Jiva, which is the cause for all our sorrow, misery and pain. And this ignorance can go away with the right knowledge. Ignorance is an intellectual problem, and therefore the solution has also got to be intellectual. The non-difference was established to the detailed analysis, rather we saw all that. Then the benefit of gaining this knowledge was described, which we have seen as a 5-fold benefits right in the beginning itself. which is called moksha or liberation. And this liberation, it was pointed out, which is unique to Advaita Vedanta, that this liberation can be got in this life itself while living. It is not something that we get after death. This moksha is not something we get after death. We can get it. We can become Jivan Muktaha in this life itself by gaining this knowledge rather. And this, since this is the most intimate knowledge, it was called Aparoksha Jnanam. So most Aparoksha means the one which is very intimate to us. It's about our own self. There is no distance between me and myself, isn't it? So that is what is Aparoksha Jnanam. And this knowledge leads to the destruction of the very cause of rebirth, which are punya papas earned in the past lives. Therefore, a jnani does not have rebirth. So when a jnani's body falls, he becomes videha muktaha. This also we saw today also. Then the author went into a detailed discussion on the law of karma for us to understand the three types of karma: sanchita karma, prarabdha karma, and agami karma. How these karmas cause rebirth and how they get destroyed through self-knowledge. This all he explained. Then he further went to how this law of karma process works for a jnani and a ajnani differently rather. And why an ajnani has got rebirth and how a jnani avoids rebirth was also very well articulated. So these three types of karmas are the cause for our samsara, a life of becoming, a life of sorrow, a life of misery. All that was pointed with a quote from Chandogya Upanishad, which we saw in today's class, Tarati Shokam Atmavit. The knower of Atma swims across this entire world of sorrow, all sorrow. So this means that even though prarabdha karmas do bring favorable and unfavorable experiences to a jnani also, he wades or swims through them. He just doesn't give any importance to them. He enjoys Brahmananda even while living in this life itself. Then talking about a jnani's death, it was highlighted that the place where the jnani dies or the time that the jnani dies, because there are all these things matter. Some people want to die only in, Uttarayana. Like they got the Bhishma example. I also want to become Bhishma. This fellow got nothing about even Bhishma's toenail. This fellow is not worth it. But he has got ambition to die in Uttarayana. That is all again determined by his own karmas. This fellow doesn't realize it. If you have to die in Uttarayana, you will die in Uttarayana. Then I want to die in Shukla Paksha, not in Krishna Paksha. All these funny things people have got, thanks to all our Puranas and stories that they have heard throughout their life. When you come to Vedanta, all these things become irrelevant. For a jnani also, where he dies, when this body is going to fall, irrelevant for him. He is already in Brahmananda. Right? That is what we saw. So after his fall, this Karana Sharira, Sukshma Sharira also go and merge with the totality, with the Karana Prapancha and Sukshma Prapancha. So jnani has got no rebirth. He becomes free from the cycle of Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. And this is called the final liberation. This is the Videha Mukti. First one was the first level of liberation, where this life itself you are liberated. The final liberation is liberation. So first liberation is Tarati Shokam Atmavit, which is you cross over all the sorrows of this life. Then the final liberation is what? The final liberation is Videha Muktaha. He has no rebirth. So both these kind of bondages, one is the sorrows that we experience in this life and the bondage of rebirth. A jnani gets rid of both. He gets free from both these bondages. And the author pointed out, he gave Shruti and Smriti support for these conclusions. So finally, the power of jnana is so much, and that's why it is worthwhile to seek this knowledge with full commitment. I am repeating these lines again. These are not my words. These are words of Swami Paramarthananda. So I am repeating it. It is worth knowing it. This is a knowledge. When we have got this life, Bhagavan has given us this life with a certain spiritual inclination. We must put it to full use. Whether we live to 70 years, 80 years, 90 years, or 100 years, whatever time is left for us, we must put it to full use in gaining this knowledge. But at the same time, we must not do this at neglecting everything else. We have responsibilities, as I told in one of the earlier classes. That is also part of the Karma Yoga process only. By doing this, by discharging our responsibilities in a responsible manner, it's a part of Karma Yoga. Chitta Shuddhi will go on developing. So all these processes, gaining qualification, gaining Chitta Shuddhi, pursuing this spiritual knowledge, traveling on the spiritual journey can all be simultaneous processes. It need not be one after the other, one after the other. It can be done together. Okay. So the author concluded this teaching of this Prakarana Grantha known as Tattva Bodha with Iti Tattva Bodha Prakaranam Samaptam. And with this, we also complete the teaching of this, or learning of this Tattva Bodha text, and pray to God to make things, situations conducive for us to continue in the spiritual journey and learn more and more of our scriptures. Harihi Om. I will say the prayers once again, and then if there are still any questions or doubts or any comments, we can take it. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much once again. I am indebted to all of you because you gave me this opportunity to teach this text. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you something?
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Thank
The
you.
jigyasa has
Thank
been
you so
aroused.
much, Guruji.
Sorry?
Thanks a lot.
I said the jigyasa has been aroused. I don't think it will go off.
Yeah. Jignasa, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much,
To those
Guruji.
of you who are in Vishnu Sahasranam classes, we will see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Those of you who are part of Sanskrit classes, we will see on Friday and Wednesday and Friday. Those who have enrolled for Bhagavad Gita, we will see you on 24th. So let me just tell you, I will be sending the announcement also. Swami Sadatmananda, who is the Pradhana Acharya of Anaikatti Arsavidya Gurukulam Ashram, who was my guru also, who taught me for 3.5 years, he has kindly consented to inaugurate the Bhagavad Gita classes. Being Guru Purnima day, so I requested him and he has said he will do that. And he will come on Zoom and inaugurate. And being Guru Purnima, I also requested him to give us short talk on Guru Mahima. So he will talk about Guru Mahima also as a part of that inaugural function. Rather. So you can, those who have enrolled, this is information for them. I will send the circular, the notification about all these details once I finish the this registration process on next Saturday. Okay.
Thank you, Raghuji. I really missed few classes, but this class was like
Your audio is not all right.
for me, Nidhyasanam. So I gained a lot for me. Can't you hear me?
Yeah,
now can you hear me?
Now it's better, yeah.
Okay. No, this was I like since I had to miss few classes because of the health reasons.
Yeah.
And this was like a Nidhyasanam class for me. That's what I enjoyed it so much. Everything coming back, reiteration of what, I have forgotten, which I learned so many years ago. So thank you so much. It was indeed a Nidhyasanam for me. And Hari Om. Yeah.
Mr. Narayana, you are okay now?
I'm not okay, Guruji. Thank you very much.
Your face is showing that.
I'm lying down and you say I'm not going to miss it. I decided. I was determined to listen to the last lecture. I said I should not miss it.
Thank you.
I am on medicine and I'm lying down and watching the whole thing. Thank you very much, Guruji. Enjoyed every session. In fact, I grabbed the opportunity which you offered, and I have been benefited. Thank you very much. It's only for me.
Ishwara's grace, all blessings of Ishwara.
Absolutely, absolutely. You showed the path, we grabbed it, and we have been benefited. Thank you very much. Very, very kind of you. See you tomorrow. Thank you, Guruji. Good day.
Guruji, thank you very much. The classes was very good. And it was evident from the evolution of questions which are put forth by various students. They had understood your teaching, and questions were each session. They were you can say it was much more observing. They have observed whatever you have said. This is what was evident from that question they have put. So thanks once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, Lataji, you want to say something?
Yes, Guruji. I have a couple of questions. I'm not sure whether you still have time, but then before that, what I wanted to say was thank you very much for feeling really blessed and to hear this live. Earlier, I had heard it from Swami Ishwaranandaji of Chinmaya Mission, but that was only through the audio. But attending classes is really feeling blessed, and I don't have words to appreciate your lectures. It's been very enlightening. I have two quick questions, but if there's no time, you can answer them another time.
Please go ahead. We have all the time. Today is a concluding class, so we will finish the agenda of this Tattva Bodha.
Okay.
It may benefit other students also, no?
Yeah, the first question is when we leave the body, it is, of course, the Sthula Sharira and the reflecting medium 3 and the reflected consciousness 3, they disappear. But then the Karana Sharira and the Sukshma Sharira, they leave the body and they continue the journey. So it is, but then the Atma itself is immovable, unchangeable, and then it's ever pervading. So it's only the reflected consciousness 1 and 2 that leave the body
That
with
moves
along with the
along
Sukshma Sharira.
reflecting medium. That's all.
With the reflecting medium. Okay, that was one. Thank you very much for that. And the second question is the Jnani attains knowledge by having recourse to Shastras or by gurus like you and then all other gurus in the past. But what about a bhakta who just simply believes in God and then who knows that creation is because of God and then who believes in God that everything goes on in the world is the God and then he just worships God in his heart, but who has no recourse to all the Shastras or the knowledge? What about the bhaktas?
You see, everybody is a bhakta. A jnani also is a bhakta only.
Yeah.
Bhakta is not different from a jnani, correct? If a person who has got intense bhakti in this life and he attains jnanam or he attains moksha rather to put it, then we have to actually understand that he has attained this, he has gained this jnanam in the previous births. And because of some reason, there was something which was left out in the prarabdham which he had to complete in this birth rather. But in this birth, he has actually devoted his entire life to that. What is bhakti? Bhakti is nothing but reverential attitude towards everything in real sense. Reverence not at the lip level, isn't it? That is what is bhakti, that everything you see, Ishvara is what? Totality. Totality includes you, me, everything, including this laptop, everything. When you have a reverential attitude towards all that, that is bhakti. And Ishvara is only one aspect of that bhakti. So when a person has got that kind of a bhakti, in fact, when in Bhagavad Gita, I'll talk about our Lord Krishna. In fact, I think I talked about in Vishnu Sahasranam class, because I take so many classes, I forget where I talked. There are 4 types of bhaktas that, Lord Krishna talks about. So this Jnani Bhakta is also, Jnani also is a Bhakta also can be a Jnani. So that is how we have to understand and interpret. So a Bhakta would have gained that Jnanam. He will have that. There is no difference between me and Tota. What is the essence of this Jnanam? The essence of this Jnanam means Aikyam. There is no difference between me and the total. That's all. So if that understanding is there and that jnanam is there, one revels in that jnanam or one abides in that jnanam, that is moksha. It can come alongside bhakti, can be one aspect of it. But eventually, without jnanam, moksha cannot be there. Whether the jnanam you get it in this birth, previous birth, however. Yeah.
In this connection, can I add, if we take gopis, they were not like Vedantic. No, they were so simple and so humble that they were after Krishna without getting into the Vedantic knowledge. It all that they had was absolute humility and love and identification with them. Very, very simple.
So those gopis would have been born later on and would have become Vedantins, and then they would have learned from Krishna. See, I mean, these are all this gopi business, Krishna business and all. We must leave it at the Purana stage, at the Bhagavatam stage. Okay. When we have come to Vedanta, we must not go in the reverse gear and go into those stories and all that. They are all stories in order to attract people to Vedanta only. They are all marketing material for Vedanta. We must not take those things literally, that all those things are true and all that. So we have to understand it in that context. As I told earlier also, we need to evolve ourselves spiritually from Itihasa Purana, learning from Mahabharata and Ramayana. Forget the story, learn the essence of that. Go to the, Itihasa stage from Purana stage. From Purana come to Bhagavad Gita, Smriti Granthas. Once you have come to Bhagavad Gita, what you have studied in your high school and your primary school are irrelevant, right? You cannot go and tell a college professor, no, my school teacher told me this. You cannot tell a college. You go to PhD, then even the college, what you have learned all will become irrelevant. You focus only on a specialized area, which is the real area for so far as the subject matter is concerned. So when you come to Vedanta, you are almost post-graduation level, you have reached master's level. You can't be talking about what you have learned in undergraduate level or school level and all that. So gopis, Krishnas, 60,000 wives, all those stories are all there in Puranas. We must have the intellectual capacity to interpret those things. As I told, I gave an example. Ravana has got 10 heads. That is from Ramayana. Now, can you imagine if you tell a child 10 heads, it will get amused. But if you tell me got 10 heads means what? Ravana was a split personality. He had 10 different, heads mean 10 different personalities. One personality was a bhakta, Shiva bhakta. One personality was completely lust, kama. So like that, he had different personalities. One was anger. So when we interpret Ramayana, study Ramayana, we cannot go around looking for somebody with 10 heads and say whole Ramayana is false because nobody can have 10 heads. You have to understand the philosophical significance behind that. That is how gopis also, we have to understand the philosophical significance behind that, the gopis. That bhakti, that surrender is what Vedanta wants. Vedanta wants us to surrender to the scriptures, to the Guru. That is what is the thing that we have to get. And Lord Krishna, if you have seen as Jagat Guru, and the gopis surrendering to him, then what? Once you surrender to the Guru, you get moksha. It's a thing. So you can actually go into it in a very big discussion we can have. But what I'm saying is, let us not worry about those stories. Let us focus on what we have learned and what we have to learn. In Bhagavan, Krishna does not tell Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, so many gopis, I was dancing and all that. Did he say all that, those things? Even in Mahabharata, the stories are not there. It's only there in Bhagavata Purana. Gopi dancing. Okay. So anyhow, we have to take all these things in this perspective. And that is why keep our focus. That samadhanam is very, very important. Our focus is on moksha through knowledge. And only through knowledge you will get moksha. No other road will lead to moksha. That much scriptures are, Vedas are saying, Upanishad after Upanishad are saying. So we have to take that, we have to have Shraddha in the Upanishads and take it, isn't it?
Guruji, this is addressed to Hariji. Hariji, if you are fluent in Hindi, there is a writer called Raskan, and he talks about curbing Uddhava's ego. Krishna sent him to the gopis to teach the Vedanta. And the result of it is very, very, very beautiful, should you ever want to look it up.
I should have time to do all that.
No, I was addressing Hariji's question. And as a teenager, we were taught something like that. So it might be of interest to him.
Amma, can I have your mobile number, if you don't mind?
Oh, yeah, sure. You want me to put it on the chat?
It should be there, you know, when you go to group participants, it will be there.
Group participants.
In the group.
No, with the name,
on
not
WhatsApp.
with all the
Prema,
names.
it should be there. You check Tattva Bodha, this our group participants. I think the name should be there. V Prema. Prema Venugopalan will be there. Either name.
I'll give it to you anyway, Hariji.
You can send it.
Yeah.
Any more discussion, please?
No, it was beautiful. Thank you, Guruji.
How do we pray your Guru Dakshina, Guruji?
By attending these classes, you have already paid my Guru Dakshina. I always say my Guru Dakshina is your regular attendance in these classes. So, and if somebody wants to give any material Dakshina, I also suggested that you can send those Dakshina to the ashrams, to my own ashram, where I learned, Anakati Arsa Vidya Gurukulam, you can send it to them. So, but then some students are keeping on asking me, how do we do it? How do we do it? Let Ishvara give me a way out, I will tell you. But I want to, you know, honestly speaking, I get, you know, real happiness when I am doing it, you know, without any expectation of anything. Guru Dakshina is not something which I am expecting. Guru Dakshina is important from the Shishya point of view. I'm not saying Guru Dakshina. I pay Guru Dakshina to my gurus every year, rather, during the Guru Purnima occasion. So,
such a life-changing the Upadesham you have given, it will be, we
so
feel
what I'm saying
more
is,
blessed.
honestly speaking, let me tell you, initially 2 years, 3 years ago, I was planning to set up a trust. Because this Dakshina business is such that once you get it and all, and if it is not properly channeled, then income tax and all these problems all come. So I just want to avoid all that kind of thing. So I wanted to set up a trust and then get this income tax exemption for the trust and all that. And then anybody who wants to contribute could have contributed to the trust. And I have got already worked on trust deed, everything, what the trust will do, everything I have done. All the homework was done. Then before it was registered and all that, and before I could talk to people to become trustees and all that, Corona struck and it is stuck still there only. But even if I register the trust now, it will take at least, I'm told, 3 years to 4 years for the income tax people to give exemption for that. Otherwise, whatever the trust earns also, it will have to pay tax on that by way of donations. So there are a lot of you know, legal complications in doing all these things. Safest way is what? Either you donate to one of the either Swami Paramatmananda's trust or the Arsha Vidya Gurukulam or the Swami Dayanand Saraswati's trust. You are contributing to them is like contributing to me. That's all. I am part of that those institutions from where I have learned. One way of doing it. Another way of doing it is attending my classes regularly. Second way of doing it. Third way of doing it is wait for some time till everything becomes clear and God willing, if that all this trust business which I am planning happens, then at that time, you know, we can think about that. So this is what I would say so far as Guru Dakshina is concerned.
Tomorrow, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Hari Om. Thank you very much. So,
I have one comment.
yes, Hariji.
I learned how to be selfless and how to put selfless effort from the way that you were teaching.
Hari Om.
Nothing expecting from us, but you wanted only to give, and only to give. Thank you very much.
Hari Om. Thank you. Okay. Hari Om. Thank you all once again.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Okay. Hari Om.